This is Kathy Chase. As I said, the past years have been an escalation of a whole bunch of different manipulations, never consistent, and just building up and escalating day after day after day after day. 2005, when I had the first inclination of something being wrong, I had no idea, I had no clue to any degree of what was going on, other than I was afraid when I left Name That Tune, and I wanted to find out what was, what I was missing, because, I was scared. And then, it's 2012, and look at how much has escalated around me because of failures of prevention and people who wanted to purposely manipulate and constantly manipulate and divert, and so forth, for whatever reasons. It couldn't have never been about liabilities, because, I went over that for the first time months ago, and I'm not at fault for anything, and government can't blame me for anything that I'm not responsible for, and politicians can't blame me for anything that I'm not at fault for or responsible for. I don't know what to say other than, this looks really bad as far as all the manipulations that have taken place around my life for the sake of other people and favoritisms, and how this has escalated thus far is absolutely criminally insane on the part of other people. 2005, when I first had inclination something was wrong, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about rock stars. I was so deep in hypnosis, I had no idea. I never knew until it was about 4 years ago anything about rock stars involved around my life. I never knew about music until it was brought to my attention around the time leaving chat room. I didn't know there was even any music about me or anything. I had been so deep under hypnosis that, there was no way I could have known. And nobody told me anything. And, and then people attacking me in my life to try to use trickery to make me famous, and then manipulate that scenario in my life and who I am, and insult me and try to think they can insult me to death, and citizens attacking me and my children because they are at fault and wrongful doing and malicious acts against me and my children. As I said, this has just gradually escalated to the point that it's at reach now, and none of it's my fault. And I started contacting police in 2005 because I wanted to first looking for Triphead 79. Because I wanted to know what was going on. For one, because I was scared. I was trying to figure out what was going on around me, because certain things that were said had made me afraid for my life and my safety, and that's escalated. My fear for my life has escalated more and more and more and more all the time since that time. As I said, 2005, nobody hardly knew who I was in the public. I'm sure of that. And they've actually made my problems worse, which aren't even my problems to begin with. Other people set out to ruin my life. I didn't do that. Other people set out to ruin my children's life. I did not do that. As I said, the manipulations, just one on top of the other, inconsistency, and the liabilities have actually gone up from the time this started to where it's at now, because I've had a child since then. I had Sean while I was in Name That Tune. When I was a part of that chat room, and I had Autumn, less than 3 years ago, and preventions weren't taken there either. I don't understand why people want to make things worse and keep escalating to think that they can build up this huge amount of drama with their little stupid play crap, and plan drama and plan for my life to be incredibly harder than it ever was to begin with, based on things that were a fact, which were things were never my fault. Things were never my fault that other people took advantage of a very vulnerable situation, and extremely vulnerable situation, and the whole D Street, and they're declassified, and the whole school thing, and all this stupid stuff. Don't look at me, because that was their intentions, obviously, because look at the long string of manipulations that have taken place. The fact that people didn't know who I was, there was no prevention, there was no consistency to your stories. Started out with web manipulations, but nobody hardly knew who I was. The only people that knew who I was on the web and were talking to me were the people that knew who I was already. There's no logical way that other people in the public could have known who I was, because they didn't know about me. They wouldn't gravitate to go listen to me talk to in a chat room if they didn't know who I was already to begin with. There's no other logical way you can manipulate that. And then also the fact that Barack Obama was not president at that time. When this whole argument started, before he was ever in office. Okay? And it's just carried on to this manipulations, and here we are in leap year, and I believe that's how somebody planned that. I don't know who, but it's obvious. With the school supplies, you got leapfrog school supplies, and you've got trapper keepers that we used to use in high school and junior high, and I'm not an animal, and I'm not a part of your stupid game. And you can't do what you've done to my life. You can never do what you've done to my life. You never had rights to my life. Nobody ever's had rights to my life. You don't have rights to my children's lives. And I'm tired of paying for other people's mistakes based on favoritism or lack of respect, and they have no character. They have no integrity. They don't care about other people. They're hopeless cases in which people do not learn from their mistakes because they repeated their mistakes. And to be such hypocrites, to repeat the same mistakes, you'd have to be insane. They're arguing about me, but they've repeated the same mistakes, and then they try to kill my kids to cover up their mistakes that they've repeated, which you cannot do. My children are untouchable, and so am I. But my kids are already sick. I'm worried about them, and I want something done as soon as possible to do something about these people, to get these people from you keep attacking me and my children. I don't want that to happen anymore. And these people have worked themselves into a panic and a frenzy because they're in the wrong. That's why they do this. And they got to stop. If something happens to one of my children, I will sue the government for a lot of money. I talked about liabilities. If something happens to one of my children, I am going to sue the government. So I'm encouraging you to take action against these people who continually want to use my children as a human shield because they are so freaked out. They are so they're just I'm worried about them. They need help, serious help. I think probably if they don't learn from initial mistakes and they keep repeating mistakes over and over and they don't relent, then there's probably no chance that they're going to learn and they're going to keep continuing. So therefore, I think it's time to take action against these people that don't relent, to stop their citizens, the citizens against the citizens thing, me, my children, innocent citizens and victims of other people's malicious actions in our life, using our lives maliciously, and the manipulations that have taken place since 2005. I didn't have the fame that I have now, and that's just another one of politicians. Obviously, it has to be politicians' liabilities. Because I didn't have the fame that I have now, and I don't like being abused because I have fame that should have been prevented. This current scenario should have been prevented because I didn't know, and that was just total trickery, obviously. I talked about liabilities months ago, and nobody's budged. So therefore, I can't help but see, the malice thing. The malice thing down at the Capitol, Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass, and then old Alice Cooper lyrics, and then Alice the Show, Alice from the Brady Bunch, and then Alice Cooper. Cooper Street in Lincoln, Nebraska is on the 3900 block. Robert just turned 40 yesterday, but he was 39, and that was part of his Social Security number, 392539 was the end of his Social Security number. Anyways, he was born before me, and Social Security numbers mean nothing. As I said, manipulations that have taken place upon my life over the duration of many years. Government has never contacted me, never ever contacted me. There's never been a government agency, the CIA, the FBI, the police department has never contacted me on any of these issues in which people stab me in the back with and have manipulated over the duration of the past since 2005. To the contrary, I have contacted and documented with the government agencies, and so therefore, I've just done my part in documentation, saying what I know and telling them how I see things as I see them has been part of my documentation. I don't rely so much on my blogs anymore because I know people have hacked them in the past, so then that's why I've been going to the voice recording, because I know they can't manipulate those. That would be very difficult to do, and I do know voice recordings are very, they're just as good as writing things in paper, if not better. I'm scared of these people. They purposely gave me post-traumatic stress disorder because of flashbacks and LSD trips and flashbacks with people that go through war. And you can't premeditate war upon a mother and child and mother and children in the United States of America. It's considered a war crime. So as far as I've disproved anything that you try to manipulate me as having wrongdoings for, because I don't hypnotize people, I don't chip people, I don't put things in people's bodies. I've always been the type of person who has lived and let live, and been a person who cares about people, and a person who believes in looking out for other people and that sort of thing. And I can't help it that there's a lot of a lack of good character around me as far as people that have been a part of my life in the past, and their malicious intentions unto me and my children. Me and my children are not disposable. That's the message to the Chase family. We're not disposable. There's nothing you can do to us, and you better stop. I mean it. I'm not kidding you. You better stop. Citizens cannot attack other citizens. If something happens to one of my children, you're gonna go to jail. I'm gonna see to it that Richard Chase goes to jail and his family goes to jail, because you need to get a control over your son. He's crazy. And I don't want Shannon talking to Amber, because they've been trying to initiate Amber to poison the kids. Richard, I'm talking to you. You've had no rights to do what you've done to my children. We are not lab rats, and citizens cannot attack citizens of their own free will. There's no such. The public thinks this is the most ridiculous scenario they've ever heard of in their lives. Citizens attacking other citizens, and mothers having to protect their children solely on their own, As I said, nobody hardly knew who I was in 2005. I don't know how you could manipulate to the point we're at today. You plan the drama. You plan to make my life a living hell. It's in the movies. Why would you want to do such a thing?